Warning. Wily's Rejects is a free-flowing conversation about gaming and geek culture that occasionally touches on sensitive topics. Listener discretion is advised.
And so if someone is going to get mad at me about playing Torbjorn, on one hand, I get it. On the other hand, I want to just put up my hands and go, hey, man, I'm not playing May. Like, I'm not... It's like I said something really racist, and then I was like, but dude, like, I'm not going to vote for Trump or anything. Like, I'm not that bad, you know? I'm just saying they're all lazy, you know? But I'm not voting for Trump. You know?
Oh, God. Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Wily's Rejects.
Hey, everybody.
We are back. It is episode number 2, and last week there was a whole bunch of good stuff that happened because
so good.
it was E3.
Oh yeah.
And that is a thing, right?
Yeah. People love the E3.
People love it. So we have a list of some stories that we're gonna talk about from E3 because, you know, why not? Why not talk about it? Why not throw our voices into the cacophony of voices that are already talking about E3?
Why shouldn't my breath get swept up in the hurricane? Why shouldn't?
Why not? Why should I not scream into the wind?
Yeah.
So, Resident Evil 7.
Yes.
Now, this is funny because in my Doom video that we talked about in episode 1, I make a joke at Capcom's expense about the idea of changing the tone of your series so gradually and then all at once is just a terrible idea.
Yeah.
And id kind of reversed that with Doom 2016. And it looks like Capcom may be listening with Resident Evil 7 because it actually had a real horror feel to it. Mm-hmm. It kind of felt like old school Resident Evil, other than the fact that it was first person. It felt a lot different than the trailer felt a lot different than Resident Evil 6, which just kind of seemed like Gears of Zombies or whatever. It was like it was not Resident Evil-y.
Yeah, since Resident Evil 4, it's been kind of your action-based kind of thing, which happens to have zombies. And whereas Resident Evil 4 actually was a fairly good game,
right?
They kind of went off the rails, and I think they're getting back to... I mean, it's all good news for the Resident Evil franchise lately. Between this, apparently the trailer they've got, like they've got a demo you can download, which is not necessarily completely indicative of what the final game was going to be. Right. It's almost like the PT thing was.
Yeah. You could tell that they were kind of taking a page from Konami's now abandoned playbook.
Right. Yeah. It's they're taking a step back in the right direction again, and between that and also, I mean, the remaster of Resident Evil 2 is a definite thing, and a lot of the original designers of that one have come out to say that it looks pretty solid, which is awesome because that was my favorite of the series. That was my
Resident
favorite.
Evil 2 was really the one that, I mean, the first Resident Evil game was fun, but I really recall the reviews for that first game. It was pretty much like solid 7s, I want to say, if my memory serves me. It was a 7.5 game. It got a pretty good score because it was kind of unique for the time. There weren't that many games in the genre, but it had, you know, terrible voice acting.
Oh, the campiest,
campiest, horrible voice acting. Really awkward controls. Mm-hmm. There were a bunch of things that were drawbacks to the first Resident Evil that people look back now on and like, oh, there's some sort of nostalgia filter going on.
Right.
But yeah, it was Resident Evil 2 that really got the franchise going as also a critical success.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, God, I on a personal note, I can remember one of my fondest video game memories is playing that all night Saturday night with my little brother when we were, I guess I was in 9th grade and he was probably in 7th grade. And it was Easter Sunday the next day. And we stayed up all night playing Resident Evil 2 and couldn't beat it. We didn't have a cheat code, and this is before, the internet was completely readily available. And we probably could have gotten on the internet, but I don't know how equipped GameFAQs was back in the day at that point. And I can remember, and we had to go to church, and it was fine at first because we were really wired and jumpy, from this game that scared the fuck out of us.
Yeah.
And but then like about halfway through church, we just dying because it's freaking Easter Sunday service, so it's extra
so
heavy.
So long, and zombie Jesus. Speaking of zombies,
exactly. He which would be even more intriguing if he was a liquor. And in fact, right now while we're talking, I'm gonna go ahead and Google zombie Jesus liquor, and I might regret this. Hold on, liquor.
Yeah,
what we got.
This is one I'm definitely leaving.
Zombie Jesus liquor. I got liquors right off the bat, the proper kind of liquors anyway. Oh my god. Some of them seem to be remastered, and some individual pictures of Jesus, and then a definition of Christianity.
Okay.
That reads thusly. The belief that a cosmic Jewish zombie who is his own father can make you live forever if you symbolically eat his flesh and telepathically tell him you accept him as your master, so he can remove an evil force from your soul that is present in humanity because a rib woman was convinced by a talking snake to eat from a magical tree, which is pretty succinct. Actually.
That's about right.
Yeah, I mean I think that covers all the big things. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
So yes, I am intrigued quite a bit, and there's a VR support apparently.
Yeah, and I don't know enough about the PlayStation VR. I believe the game is a PlayStation exclusive.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the teaser, you can only download it for the PS4 right now.
Right.
Yeah. It's which would lend itself more to the first person that was demonstrated in the teaser game. But that being said, there are third-person virtual reality games out there now.
Oh, sure.
Where you kind of behave, your point of view is a third-person camera.
Have you seen the little foot pad? That I don't know if this. I think I saw a GIF of this. GIF, whatever, of this just today, and it's like it looks like, you remember the game Simon?
Yes.
It looks like a Simon game, but it's a little bigger, and it goes under your feet, and it's got a little concave bottom, or rather a domed bottom, so it balances, and when you're in VR, it's like a controller, and you push forward on the thing with your feet, and it moves you forward.
Wow.
And I don't know if this is an actual thing that is available, or if it's an idea or a proof of concept, or if it's in development or what, but I saw it. And I guess what I'm saying is this topic is completely useless for our purposes. But I was thinking about it, and if there's going to be a Resident Evil VR experience, my guess is you're going to want something along those lines.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Or the Vive, which, just allows you to walk around.
Yeah, exactly. In your room and shit.
Or in your room.
Yeah, that could work. I guess. I suppose you could actually walk if you.
Yeah.
You got to use your hands. It's like a baby's toy. So I'm more intrigued, honestly. I'm more excited about the Resident Evil 2 remaster, but that's just my nostalgia boner.
Yeah,
talking.
no, I totally understand. And it's an interesting question, by the way. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people talk about the Resident Evil main series, so the numbered games, right? So 1 through 6, or 0 through 6, as it were.
Yeah, as it were.
But there is because there's a ton of spin-off games that are just side stories or whatever, but do you consider Code Veronica to be part of the main series?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah? I mean, it's I think so. I think it should be.
I think so. I mean, it's like a gigantic side quest.
Yeah.
In the world of Resident Evil. But so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it brings back. I mean, it's what's her name from Resident Evil 2 is the main character, and it was also the return of Chris.
Yes.
From Resident Evil 1. That was the first time that he was playable since the first game, because he's not in 2 or 3. And 2 is Leon and... Who are the two options?
Oh, Leon and Claire?
Claire. Leon and Claire. Mm-hmm. And then 3 was Jill. Only Jill.
Yes.
And then Code Veronica was Claire again.
Yeah.
Claire and Chris.
Yeah.
So I always thought of Code Veronica as like Resident Evil 4 before Resident Evil 4 actually came out.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, and they really it's a strength and also a weakness, I guess, when you have that kind of storyline where you can just kind of go off on all kinds of other tributaries from the river, so to speak. So on one hand, it's like really cool that you can make all kinds of games and all kinds of experiences with all kinds of different characters. And on the other hand, it does get a little confusing after a while.
Yes, it does. Like wait, is Wesker still dead, or is he alive again?
Was he dead by this time, or it's like, well, it doesn't. I guess
which time was he dead?
Right.
Is he? What about Ada? Is Ada still alive?
No, Ada's never alive. Ada was
Ada never existed.
She was a ghost. Yeah, she was just Bruce Willising us the whole goddamn time. Fucking Ada.
She was Bruno.
Resident Evil 2 was probably, because when you're a kid and you have access to NES and SNES and Genesis and that kind of thing. And you like RPGs, hell, if you just like video games, your access is just Japanese style games. That's all there is. And because there are no voiceovers to speak of, really, it's just dialogue and that kind of thing. You don't think about the style differences don't appear at first until you have something to compare them to. And I think Resident Evil 2 was the first game that I, because it had full voice acting and everything like that, and I can remember going, oh, this is kind of a little dramatic, isn't it? Like, I think that's how I first interpreted it. And then sometime in high school, I was like, I don't know, Resident Evil. And you know what it is? It was because of anime. All of my geek friends were totally getting into anime, and I wasn't at all. And then my explanation was always like, it's a little dramatic, isn't it? They're like, yeah, that's the Japanese culture storytelling thing. Like, it's an anime manga.
It's a
trope.
Convention.
Yeah, and so I think that was my first realization of a cultural difference between Western and Eastern video game styles, in storytelling, at least.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to give the listeners an example of Phil's the drama in Phil's head, there's a Facebook status update he wrote some time ago talking about the pain of heartbreak and how it is the most painful thing that you believe that you are dealing with, and you learn that pain and you just absorb that pain, and it is the pain of pains, and then one day you're at the urinal and you zip up too fast. Mm-hmm. And then you really learn pain.
That's based on a true story, by the way. I don't care how bad that bitch broke my heart. Nothing hurts quite as bad as balls up in your zipper.
Oh, man, does that sting. Speaking of not that at all, Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Oh my god, I can't wait. I'm so stoked.
Yes, I am glad. I am so glad I invested in a Wii U 2 years ago.
I'm getting one. I mean, like I've wanted a Wii U for a little while.
Yeah.
And this is just, it's too much.
To be honest, I've put in way too many hours on not Smash Brothers, Mario Kart to say that it wasn't worth the purchase.
Right.
But yeah, I saw that and I was like, wow, this is just wow.
It was such a beautiful moment for me because, I'll be 34 in October, and this is one of those things that I love video games, I'm passionate about them, but it's so hard to get that childlike wonder back because and all of E3, they're announcing amazing things. There's some really cool stuff that got announced, but despite that, it will not stop me from the snark. I'm gonna be snarky. I'm gonna make fun. I had a lot of fun doing that, even with stuff that I was looking forward to and thought was cool. I didn't have the strength for it during Breath of the Wild. I was just sitting there, just going, "Oh my god, oh my god!" Like I was complete, and maybe I'll be wrong, but I have that moment. I had that moment where I was just completely swept away in the whole thing. It was too much. It was so great.
The entire concept is just, it's amazing. And if you don't know what it is, basically Zelda Breath of the Wild is it's an open world RPG, much like your Skyrim, your Elder Scrolls series, and more recently the Fallout games. It's obviously it's not first person. It's the more classical Zelda 3D camera angles, but still it's just got this magnificent scope and just a few stats. It's the map, the world is 12 times the size of the map that was found in Twilight Princess.
I mean it's just it's freaking huge. And it looks beautiful, and it's funny because the only salt I've been getting from some people is they roll their eyes and they're like, "Oh, it's an open world game. Haven't we had enough open world games?" I'm like, man, the original Legend of Zelda was an open world game. Like,
it's technically in my mind they've all kind of actually been that way, with the exception of all of them.
Well, no, 64 would stop you a little bit. Like,
that's true.
You had to get past certain things. You had to get certain things to get to certain places. Like, but otherwise, I mean, for the most part, they've been open world games, and so it's just that it's an open world game that more resembles a lot of the AAA games of today. Yeah. So I get their point, but at the same time, fuck you. Like, come on.
Yeah. just. And I understand there's people that are also disappointed that there was the possibility that Link was going to be female this time. Given that, and I understand the disappointment. I thought that would have been a nice touch.
Or at least to have the option.
To have the option. I share Jim Sterling's kind of his thought about the line. If they had just said, we don't want to do a female Link because we just don't want to do it, I would have respected that more than some of the lines that they came out with. Like, then what would Zelda be doing? Like,
that was shitty. Like,
I don't know, but they managed to work around it in any other open world RPG.
Exactly. It just that was shitty. It's so funny how game developers can do that. Yeah. Where we can just kind of, like, Rockstar sat back and people were like, you got 3 main characters in Grand Theft Auto 5, and they're all dudes. You couldn't have made one a woman, and they were just like,
nah.
No, yeah, they were like, we just wanted to make a story about guys. We just want to make a guy story. And what can you say to that? You can't. Right. I mean, you're like, okay, like it's your game. You're telling the story was the characters we envisioned were all dudes. Maybe next time.
Yeah, I totally understand that, and I understand it. I wish. Yeah, maybe occasionally they would be like, all right, you know what? Maybe we'll just flip the script this time. Yeah. And maybe hopefully someday they do. But I like that explanation more than trying to like hedge your way around an explanation.
Oh yeah, it was like it's like when Ubisoft said,
"Oh, the physics we cannot."
We can't. It's just it's so difficult to. It's more difficult. It's like, oh god damn it, fuck you.
It's like, oh, you're saying it, aren't you, Ubisoft?
Mm-hmm.
And Ubisoft has, I mean, they're kind of semi-tone deaf as a company anyway. So
I was about to say they got problems of their own. But yeah, it looks so good, and it just it has a nice feel for the new, but it also has all those classic pieces that you like. And
the style is beautiful.
Right. And it says something about Nintendo that they can come in with literally one thing. Well, no, two, I guess this and Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
But that was it. Like they basically spent 95% of their time talking about one thing.
Yeah.
And people walked away, Zelda being one of the top things they were talking about. It was just,
right.
That's
like, here it is.
Yeah.
Like here's what we're coming to E3 with. This is the only thing we got, but we're so confident in it. Here it is.
So yeah, say what you want about Nintendo's questionable practices. One of the things they know is what their value is.
Right.
they're like, we're Nintendo. You'll calm down.
Yeah, I think when you start to realize that the intellectual properties that they hold are still extremely valuable, and they hold such a strong grasp on the memories and nostalgia of gamers everywhere. I mean, you have Metroid, you have the Mario Brothers, you have Zelda. I mean, you have Ice Climbers.
Oh god damn, Ice Climbers! You got Slalom. You've got the classics.
You got Track and Field.
Who can forget Kung Fu? I mean,
I actually had the power pad, by the way, for Track and Field.
Did you really?
Oh my god, my parents made my brother and I like get rid of it because our Nintendo was on the second floor of the house.
Oh god, your poor parents.
And
Jesus.
It was like the room was like right above where there was like a chandelier, and anytime we played Track and Field, you would just hear the chandelier go.
Yeah. My God.
From the vibrations.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. I didn't think about that. No, that's bad. No, yeah. We just had nice sedentary Nintendo games in my house. We didn't move for shit. Because that's how video games are supposed to be, damn it.
Exactly.
No exercise.
Hold on.
So, another one that I wanted to talk a little bit about was now this was a big twist, but Kojima's return.
Yes.
Holy shit! Like,
I mean,
and it was so crazy just for him to come, because he had literally just gotten done saying, "Oh yeah, I'm not making anything. I'm not working on anything just yet. You know, it's just." He literally just got done saying that. Then he walks out on stage, and it's such a huge reveal of him coming out to talk about his new game that you almost completely ignore the fact that the trailer makes no goddamn sense whatsoever.
Right. I mean, it's just like, hey, here I got Norman Reedus to do some weird things.
Right. He's like, oh, I got it. It almost feels like, because I know that what probably happened was that, you know, Norman Reedus and Hideo Kojima and Benicio del Toro, Guillermo del Toro, you know, they were working together. They were talking about a project, and so when the whole thing with Konami went down, then it was just a matter of him calling them up and going, "Hey, I'm independent. Let's work on something else instead."
Right.
But it all for some reason, I can't shake this feeling of like, Norman Reedus like being purchased by Hideo Kojima for one project, and Norman Reedus is like, he's not necessarily totally into the idea, and he's like, hey, well, you dropped from Konami, so that means we're square, right? We're good, right? And Kojima was like, fuck you. You're gonna be in one of my goddamn projects, Norman Reedus. Daryl Dixon will be in a Kojima production. Like, I just want to go home to my kids. You will is what I say you will. You know,
yeah, that's
but maybe that's just me.
Yeah. No, that's pretty, I think that's probably relatively inaccurate, but a funny take on the...
You're probably incorrect.
You're probably incorrect
on your take on the whole situation.
But no, I'm actually kind of excited for it because I don't know. I feel like Kojima's strength, it's also his weakness, but I just kind of like to. I just want to see him get really weird. Oh, yeah. I don't know about you. He's got so many weird things going on in his head. I mean, if you play Metal Gear, any of the Metal Gear games, like it's like if Tom Clancy was just tripping balls.
Yeah.
That is the plot of a Metal Gear game.
Yeah, that's just it. He's just got even for a Japanese artist. You know, when like the rest of the Japanese are going, your ideas are a little out there. You know, mean, because God, there's some of the most blissfully strange and bizarre storylines and characters are coming out of Japan lately.
Right.
Especially in the last 30 years or so. And Kojima tops them all. He's just so odd and wonderful.
And I like it. My favorite... one of my favorite moments is the end of Metal Gear Solid 2, which a lot of people were about. I mean, it's a really fun game, great controls. A lot of the hate comes from Raiden being.
I was about to say that's the one where Raiden's naked.
Yeah, he's introduced as the lead. It almost feels like a bait and switch, and it kind of is.
Yeah.
But at the end, I believe it's something weird, like the simulation that he's trapped in starts to fail, and you start getting these codec communications from the kernel that just make no sense whatsoever, but they're still stuck in my head.
Oh yeah,
where it's like the kernel calls up, and he's like, Raiden, the yellow forked worm turns in space.
And you're like, and if you're our age, you're sitting there going, they must have fucked up the translation somehow. Yeah. That happened with Nintendo games all the time.
And Kojima has really been he's been at the forefront of really messing with your head. So if you look at Undertale, Undertale used, I'm going to name it the Kojima effect. Basically, using the game looks into your own computer and kind of can look at what's already been done. So Undertale looks at the save file. Thing. It understands how far you've gone.
Right.
Sans will make different references at different times depending on which playthrough you're in. Things like that. Basically, Kojima, he kind of started that with Psycho Mantis in Metal Gear Solid 1. Mm-hmm. And then in Metal Gear Solid 2, the game gets really weird at points. I believe at one point it seems like it kind of shuts down for a second and starts back up again. Right. I think there's like a thing where like the boot screen of your PlayStation pops up.
And you had to do something with the second controller. I remember.
Yeah, I think that was in the first one.
Yeah.
In order to beat Psycho Mantis, you had to play him.
That's what it was.
With the second controller.
Right. That's just and that's who fucking thinks of that. Like, who does that shit? Yeah. So it's interesting where we've. And maybe that's what it is. It's funny you call it the Kojima effect. And I never even considered that. Maybe that's what it is, that a lot of these... Because we are getting a lot of the fourth wall breaking games.
Right.
And he was certainly at the forefront of that. And I wonder how many of them would count him as one of their influences.
Right.
I mean, I'm definitely...
Let me... I gotta grab my dog. He's barking at The thunder.
Damn you, dog. And,
Yeah.
and your barks.
Harrison.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Phil the Conquistador. I'm the real star of the show. You should love me forever. Huh? What do you think? Love me forever, not Kevin? I think you should. Or you can love Kevin, tell him you love him, but secretly you're loving me. Huh?
Ugh. Hey, stay right there. Hey,
Don't tell me what to do. I mean, I am, for the sake of, the linearity of the goddamn podcast, but...
Were you just talking to yourself?
Well, yeah. I was talking to the people back home.
The people back home, the people listening to the podcast. Because we're not talking to ourselves, we're talking to you,
well,
our listeners.
As far as we know. The goal is that we're talking to other people.
That is the goal.
In the end, these might just end up being transcribed hour-and-a-half long, lovely conversations between friends. If they don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
A nice way to remember. Oh, wow. I just blew my own mind. Maybe that's going to happen in like 30 years when our generation is getting into senior citizen age. And and there will be so many people who had podcasts that nobody listened to, that they'll dig up their old podcasts as a way of just not even as a way of like, oh, this was something we were trying to give to the world, but as a way of saying, oh, this is a nice conversation I had with a friend of mine. Like, that could be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, Harrison, what are you doing?
Wait, did you name your dog Harrison?
My dog's name is Harrison Ford.
Excellent. All right. What kind of dog is Harrison?
He's a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel.
Is that I don't know what that is. Is that a small dog?
It's a relatively small dog. They're like 15 to 20 pounds.
Okay.
They're like smaller. They're smaller than a Cocker Spaniel.
Okay.
Like 2/3 of the size of a Cocker. Are you peeing? Why are you staring at me? You're creeping me out, man.
Is it raining out there?
It's raining. He's hiding under the table.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, Kojima's awesome. And the trailer, if you haven't seen it, people, you need to... The game's called Death Stranding. And it's just so goddamn weird. And I don't know how... And of course, just like any other taste of a game of this, of Kojima's style... you don't know. Even when we have the full game in front of us, we're not going to be able to make odds and ends of half of it.
Nope.
So with a trailer, I think it's hilarious because any other game, as little information as we have, people will analyze the fuck out of it.
Right.
Trailers, people will freeze frame on different points and stuff like that. And while there's definitely been a level of that for this one. The overwhelming feeling that I've gotten from people about it, though, is fuck. Like they're putting up their hand, just like, I don't know, man. It's not like PT, where if you analyze it enough, you could actually kind of figure out a story that happened. Like, right,
there was a story to it, and you had to look at every frame, you had to play it multiple times, and it's just kind of like, is he just messing with us?
Yeah.
Like, is this even a thing? Is this even part of the game?
I can just feel the people who normally analyze those things, who do the freeze frames on every little frame of a movie trailer and go, oh, there's a hint at this, and there's a hint at this, and maybe this means this. And they looked at it and they're like, okay, it's dead fish and there's oil, so maybe environments. There's a bait. I don't know, man. I got shit to do. Like, I feel like people may have just, on this one, they may have just given up.
And you know what? I'm not sure how to pronounce it because it's Death Stranding, but is it Death Stranding or Death Stranding?
Where is it? No, at first my instinct is to tease you about that, but I have actually had the exact same thoughts. And my instinct is to say Death Stranding, as if we're stranding.
Like
death.
it's like, yeah, it's a thing. You're trying to kill somebody, so you strand them somewhere.
Yeah. Death Stranding. When you say it that way, it almost sounds like a really shitty image superhero team from 1994.
Right, yeah, and they're all kind of like generically dressed with like pseudo knockoff costumes.
They were all drawn by Rob Liefeld, and they're just a mess.
Yeah, well, the cover was done by Jim Lee.
Yeah, of course.
And then the interior
one
was
of the
Rob
covers.
Liefeld.
There were 16 variant covers.
Right. You're like, it's Jim Lee. And they're like, it's Rob fucking Liefeld.
Yeah, exactly. each with an individual hologram insert on it. And oh my God, I miss comic books from the 90s. I make fun of them. I have a long history of talking shit about comic books from the 90s, but the truth of the matter is I miss the hell out of them.
I read every single goddamn one, and they were all terrible.
What a stupid time for comic books. I got the trade of the first 7 issues of Spawn recently, because I will not lie, I was hammered when I did it.
You thought that was a good idea.
God, I buy the weirdest shit when I'm drunk. Every now and then I'll buy something that like I've been meaning to get for a long time, and it's like a Christmas present from myself because I forget. And like I bought myself once the complete works of the complete collected Calvin and Hobbes. About
totally worth it.
Totally worth it. And I remember getting that box, and it was heavy as hell, and I open it up and I go, oh my God, I forgot that I bought this. And I just freaked out, and I like patted myself on the back, and I was totally happy. And I for every one thing like that, I've got like half a dozen other examples of like the first 7 issues of Spawn, or like a complete X-Men trading card set or something like from forever ago. That I'm like, okay, this is nostalgic, but what the fuck did I buy this for? Like,
right.
And I reread, I should say, that trade of Spawn, and God, it's bad. Like, oh, it's so bad.
Yeah, so it's like, what's the term? Edgelord?
Yeah.
Like that's
what we're talking about. Yeah.
It's like the 90s were just filled with characters that were edgy with written in italics,
with dark and tormented pasts, but
with the depth of paper mache.
Yeah. That's exactly it. God, yeah. So
you could put a finger right through that character.
Right. And the worst part about it is I think when I got it and I opened up the envelope that it came in, I remember going, oh God, I bought Spawn. And then I thought about it. I was like, it's part of my childhood. This could be nice, actually. And even some of the most shallow and stupid and pedantic things that I loved when I was 14, I'll still be able to approach with a level of reverence might be the wrong word, but like warmth, of like, oh, okay, this is stupid, but God damn it, this is my childhood, and I remember this, and et cetera, and so on. I couldn't do it with this. Yeah. Like, I was just like, it was just the dialogue was so bad. The art was pretty good for its time, for what it was, but God, the dialogue was the worst thing I've ever read. And this was the thing that was always #1 in Wizard magazine of like,
oh yeah,
the comic you had to goddamn read this month.
We had, and then it had an HBO animated series. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember it. My God.
And then there was the movie with quite possibly the worst visual effects of all time.
Oh, with John Leguizamo and as the Violator?
No, not even the Violator stuff, which is not as bad as when Spawn actually goes to hell.
Oh God, yeah, it's true. Actually, the devil, the CGI.
The CGI devil.
Oh God, that was terrible.
It makes the Scorpion King look like the like a Michael Bay polished Transformers movie. Like it's just
There is
mind-blowing.
no forgiving that. It is that bad.
And I'm not saying I enjoy the Transformers movies, people. I'm just saying he knows how to polish his goddamn CGI.
Yeah, he you can at least go, yeah, fine, it looks okay. With this, you couldn't even do that. It was It was bad. Oh, yeah. So that was my little, yeah.
So, speaking of edgelords, God of War.
Yeah, that was interesting, wasn't it? That was a complete shift in tone.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I guess, we haven't had God of War in a while.
Yeah.
Sure.
and it's. I mean, there have been rumors that it was going to be Norse mythology for a little while, so there's that. But North, did I say North? Norse. Yes. Norse mythology.
North also, I mean, technically correct.
Technically correct, but I was lisping. Let's face it.
And that is the best kind of correct.
You are technically correct. Yeah, but he's a dad now, and it's got the son, and it's got a more. I mean, I'll tell you what. I didn't play the God of War games. I recognized the appeal. I saw why, that spectacle action kind of thing. That's really cool. But God of War now, this version looks a hell of a lot more like the kind of RPGs and stuff that I play. Mm-hmm. Which, on one hand, I was like, ooh, that looks more my pace. And on the other hand, I was like, oh, that's going to piss off all the other people that is not the pace of.
Right.
That's going to piss off the original fans because that isn't what they were for at all. And everyone was waiting for. It's funny, the crowd response seemed to be they were all waiting for the kid to die, or for Kratos to die and the kid to take over.
Right.
And it was so prominent, in fact, that the developers had to come out and go, no, neither of those things happen. It's basically God of War, The Last of Us.
Yeah, I was gonna The Last God of War.
yeah, The Last of Gods, and it just so I don't know that I can see where that one, because that's a big shift in tone, and that I can see where that one could go either way.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, so I remember being pretty fatigued by God of War when the third one came out, only because it's a really, the first two are really just intense. I mean, you're just killing and maiming and destroying, and that's the thing about, like, I don't mind video game violence. I don't care. I have fun with it as much as the next guy. But the thing about the kind of violence that was in God of War, because your character Kratos was also kind of not cool. He was kind of a dick. He kills a bunch of people that don't even deserve to die necessarily. So that was kind of where I was at. So I think I don't know. I think I might enjoy the new direction.
It's definitely it definitely looks like it'll be worth a look. In the sense that if it were God of War as I'm used to it, as I've seen it in the past, then I'd probably go, okay, you guys have fun with that. The same way I am with like Bayonetta and stuff like that, where I that's got a very big built-in crowd for it. And while I'm intrigued, I don't see that as like something that goes on the top of my list of I've got to check this out for science. I've got to have a look at this. And if it was another one of those, then I'd go, okay, you kids have fun with that.
Right.
No disrespect, just not my thing. You guys enjoy. But the way it is now, on top of the fact that it's such a shift from the original tone, I'm definitely going to have to keep an eye on it and try it out. It's intriguing.
Xbox One S revealed. I don't care.
Yeah.
I think this is just, we're getting to the point now where console manufacturers are realizing that they can't roll out an underpowered system anymore.
Right.
Which is
Right.
kind of what started happening in the late 90s, early 2000s, where that's when PC was really started overtaking consoles, because, the manufacturers like, well, wait a minute, we could probably use weaker components, charge just as much, and say this is top of the line.
Right.
And it wasn't. So now, both Microsoft and Sony are realizing, like, oh yeah, Moore's Law is really blowing up the spot right now. I mean, we're moving to 4K. There's actually, and now as soon as we move to 4K, higher end cinema cameras, which is kind of where it always starts, right? In resolution is over in movies. The highest end cinema cameras are now shooting in 8K. So they can't be complacent and use weaker components, and that's what I think this mid generation refresh is all about. Because even the Xbox One S, which is not I don't believe is the I'm not sure, I can't recall. Is the Xbox One S the newer one, or just like the older one with newer components? Because I thought they were releasing two.
It's Xbox One with newer components, essentially.
Okay.
But it's funny that you bring it up that way. You ask that question, because I actually think that this might be the beginning of a time with consoles where we're not going to be seeing the great grand releases of new it's almost like they're going to be phones now.
Exactly. You're going to see them every 2 years. You're just going to see, they're not going to do
a slight upgrade.
It's
on
not
the same
PlayStation
thing.
5 or whatever. It's like, okay, we're on the PlayStation 4S. You're going to see it like the phone, because and that's kind of the thing with the phone manufacturers, is that with the reliance on media and how fast media grows, the phones just become obsolete so quickly. And I know it's a little bit of a planned obsolescence. I know that they could probably make the phones last a little bit longer than they do.
Right.
But that being said, yeah, we're going to get to a point where they can't just be like, it's all the pageantry and all the, it's like, okay, you're just releasing a turnkey gaming computer. That's it.
I get the distinct feeling that what we're going to see from here on out, and I could be wrong, but I get the feeling that what we're going to see from here on out at every E3 is a new, somewhat updated version of the same thing.
Right.
Like,
here's the new specs for the PlayStations that are going on sale this year.
It's gonna be like phones in the sense you got your iPhone 6 and there's iPhone 6s and iPhone, and every now and then they'll have like a total revamp. But I think they're starting to realize that they don't need to do that.
Right.
If they don't want to.
They don't need to, and they can't.
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly. It won't hold up after long enough. That's definitely it's interesting. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, or if it just is. Because the pomp and circumstance, of course, it gets to be a little much, and people pretending to faint in their chairs over the littlest thing and stuff gets a little tedious, to say the very least. But at the same time, there's a specialness to it, which I can appreciate on a certain level. So I don't know. I think that might be where we are. I think we might be done with the big reveal. I think it'll just be kind of like clockwork now. Like, all right, every year we get a new one.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, this isn't. We're not on the Xbox One series anymore. It's now the Xbox 2 or something.
Right.
And so that's not a big deal.
And that's the thing is, and now I scroll down the list and I see, the Xbox One S is just an upgraded version of the Xbox One, but then there's the Project Scorpio, which is so if we're going One S, Project Scorpio is probably more of like the Xbox 2, but not really, because all the game, like everything should be able to crossover and all that stuff. But yeah, that's going to be...
Well, that's what they say, but then again,
Yeah, then
for
it never
example,
does.
the 3DS, the new 3DS, you cannot... They say that you can play new 3DS games on your old 3DS, but you can't. You can't. They drop down to... First off, you can't in the sense that they drop down to like 7 to 8 to 9 frames per second.
Right.
Second, if you go onto the eShop, you can't buy them. It won't let you.
Right.
And I found that hilarious because I'm playing. I got a refurbished 3DS, which isn't one of the newer 3DSs, and that I don't give a shit. That's fine.
Right.
It's just something for me to take on planes and that kind of thing.
And play old video games.
Well, that's what's ironic, you see. I was like, okay, I got my Shining Force game on here, and I was just looking through the eShop, and there's the Link Between Worlds, of course, and
right.
And I went, Christ, I'm gonna play that, I'm gonna get that, but you know what I haven't played in fucking forever? A Link to the Past.
Oh,
I haven't played that in years, and I can buy that on my 3DS. They have it on, and I went to it in the eShop. Can only get it on the new 3DS.
No, you bastards. And Nintendo, we just sang your praises.
Right, but I was just so confused. I was like, are you telling me that this thing doesn't have the hardware to play a 25-year-old game? Or
it does.
Maybe not 25, more like 20, but still. It's like it's like, are you telling me you won't take my money?
Take my money.
So come on, man. I'm literally looking at my cartridge of A Link to the Past. It's on my shelf right next to me. I have my SNES in the living room. I could just sit down and play it on my TV if I wanted to, but the idea of being able to play it on the go is so appealing.
And when he says on the go, he means on the toilet.
On the toilet forever, like until like long after anything's coming out. Like I'm not making a bodily function anymore. I'm on a vacation.
I am taking a break.
Yeah,
this is my lunch break.
Yeah, this is. I just don't want to be bothered for a little while. Leave me alone.
Leave me alone in the four walls of this stall. This is my cone of silence.
Yeah, I am king and master here, and you will not invade my territory.
My domain is 4 feet by 3 feet.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I have, but it's all I want. So it's all I require. I'm a man of simple tastes.
Speaking of domains, Bethesda dropping some knowledge with a remastered version. 2 things. Yeah. Remastered version of Skyrim, which might be enough to get me to take another crack at it. Which I liked Skyrim when I started playing it, but. At the same time, my daughter had just been born, so I started playing, and then I just never didn't have time.
So your time was spoken for.
Yeah, it was gone.
I was about to say, I was like, how do you try? There is no try in Skyrim. You do or you do not.
Exactly.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, you either invest all your hours into Skyrim. Or none at all. And
right.
I had to choose the none at all because I was like, you know what?
I got a baby.
it's not you, it's me.
Yeah.
I had to break up with the game because I was like, I'm looking down a cave, and this cave could easily be, a couple hours of gameplay and not even advance the plot.
That at least makes sense. That at least makes sense. But
but yeah, now that I have a little bit more free time now. I started a gaming YouTube channel, so that should tell you enough about
theoretically
my free time.
One has a little more time.
So I might jump into it, but also Elder Scrolls 6.
Which basically they just came out and went, it's happening.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
Which
they have to do because not everyone, but certain people they're pissy because they've got their Elder Scrolls card game that they're working on.
Right.
And people are often under the mistaken impression that if you're working on one game, you cannot be also working on another game.
Right.
And so, people are getting all pissy about this card game. Go, we don't want another Hearthstone clan. We want Elder Scrolls 6. And I think they basically had to come out and go, look, we're working on Elder Scrolls 6.
Like, we're doing a thing. Okay,
It's just going to take a while.
Relax. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, that I'm guessing we're not going to see shit about that until like 2018.
Yeah, no, they're just kind of like, here's a bone, chew on it for a little bit.
I'm stoked. I've been playing Elder Scrolls since Daggerfall, so
right.
I will be there.
Yes,
but yeah, I'm not.
And I may be there, or probably not, but I will be enthusiastically supportive of people who do decide to invest their time into it.
The development processes for these things, man, you might be sending your kid off to college by the time it comes
That's
out.
true.
You might have more time than you think you do.
That's true. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I might be able to. It might be an empty nester by that point.
You never know. And I'm gonna be like at home and like with my theoretical wife or somebody, my keeper, I guess, and it's like, is that Kevin again? Look, his kid just went. I gotta talk games with him for a little while to keep
him occupied,
keep him from cutting himself all over again. That was an ugly time. There's nothing worse than a 40-year-old man who cuts himself. That's depressing on a lot of levels, and I just want him to avoid that from here on out because I love the guy. What can I say? So I painted a very bleak picture for your
Thank
future.
you for that, for really coming to my aid in that theoretically awful future.
For creating a future in which I am the hero and you're a sad sack. Where I'm just I'm a stand-up dude. Because you're so sad.
I'm just a sad man in the future. And all I have is to lean on is my buddy Phil.
Get ready, America. Are you ready for depressed spoiler, Kevin?
This is yeah. This is good. It's gonna take a really hard turn to the left in a couple years, so everybody be prepared. Yeah. So I lost my list. Where were we? We were talking about things.
We were talking. I mean, we went.
I think we're pretty much done. We went through our list.
Ones.
The big bullet items, smaller bullet items. Mighty Number 9. We talked about it a lot the last episode.
Yes.
Finally got released. Everybody, it is what we thought it was.
Have you played it yet?
I have not played it yet. I have it. I put the code into my Steam, and I think my computer installed it already.
Your computer was like, "Let's get this over with."
Like, oh my god. Yeah. So,
if you're playing Mighty Number 9, that means theoretically that you won't be playing Overwatch. And
I know. And
how realistic is that?
That is completely not realistic because I can either play Mighty Number 9, which will just make me sad about the idea of this was a thing that was supposed to be like, hey, you like Mega Man? Well, we're going to bring Mega Man back because there hasn't really been I feel like, Mega Man just there hasn't been a thing, in a while. They did Mega Man, what was it, 9 and 10?
Oh, God,
a couple years ago.
X1, X2, X3, and 9 and... the retro...
The retros, Retro 9 and 10.
About those.
They were done with the original NES graphics. Because you remember, Mega Man 7 had the PlayStation graphic. Actually, Mega Man 7 looks like what Mighty Number 9 turned out to be.
Yes, actually, it does. That's actually... Oh god!
Was it Mega Man 7 or no? I gotta look it up.
7 was the last
8. It was Mega Man 8.
7 was the last SNES one that wasn't X.
It was Mega Man 8, which was on the PlayStation.
Yes.
Which was
awful. Awful.
So yeah. So that's sad. Moving on. Overwatch. Oh my god.
So good.
I love it, but I regret starting it.
I kind of do too. I kind of do too. And I'm not a multiplayer guy.
I was completely surprised that I was interested in it because I remember playing multiplayer for Quake 20 years ago. as a 12, 13-year-old and just not having a good time. And it was not my thing. And every few years, I feel like I would get pulled back into it. In college, it was Counter-Strike. I would play Counter-Strike for a little bit and be like, yeah, no, I hate this and everything about it. And like I mean I love Half-Life, but Counter-Strike, you're nah. I never even gave Team Fortress or Team Fortress 2 like a real shot. You know, so I just was like, I don't know. The most multiplayer thing I did was Star Wars Galaxies, which was not even that good of an MMO, honestly. You know what? This reminds me of something. I played City of Heroes for a little bit.
I did too.
I played City of Heroes for a bit, which was a pleasant game.
I don't. It was a long time ago that I played. I totally played that. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I did this. I played that game. Yeah. When did it? Man, I gotta look at. Yeah, I'm going on a Wikipedia thing now. Is it still? It's okay. Last day of services for City of Heroes was 2012, but it was released in 2004. So it lasted 8 years.
It lasted a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, not bad. I remember that. But yeah, so I was totally surprised that I was like, "Oh my god, I love this."
I mean, yeah, I remember it because that was the first time I'd ever. It might have. I mean, that was the first superhero game I ever really got a chance to play. And that's why I did it. I don't think I got very far in it. I think it was just my personal superhero designer. It all came down to.
Yeah, I think I would make a character and then play him for like 2 levels and then go back and make another one.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. But I think I'm starting because I couldn't quite put my finger on why I loved Overwatch as much as I do.
Yeah,
I couldn't figure it because I'm not a multiplayer guy so much. Even when I played World of Warcraft, rather, even in the MMO world, I was a solo player for almost the entire time. Only near the very end did I find a guild that I just happened to mesh with, and I made friends with some people. But I was there for the world and the story and that kind of thing. Same thing as with me playing Star Wars: The Old Republic. Which is even better for that because it has a massive single player campaign, which is awesome.
Right.
And I think I figured out because you talk about Quake and you talk about CS:GO, and the thing that both of those have in common is they're skill shooters.
Right.
There's not a lot of variation, which is great for a certain segment of gamers. Some people like that's the only way to play competitively because it's true skill versus true skill.
Right.
And I totally understand that logic, but it's just not for me, and I never really enjoyed it. And the interesting thing to me about Overwatch, I think, is that there are so many characters, and they're only making more, that the way that you win is almost like playing a different game each time.
Right.
And you have to swap it up to match your opponents and everything like that. But winning as Torbjorn, for example, is a completely different game, so to speak, from winning as Genji.
Right.
You know, there's so many different styles of play that you can find. I found Roadhog right off the bat, and his style of play worked for what I was doing. You are excellent at fast characters. You are really good at the quick characters.
Yeah, you know? I really took to it. It was weird because when I first started playing, I was messing around, and I played Mercy a little bit, and I was like, oh, she's kind of interesting. Support role is, I mean, it's. You don't get the glory, but it's kind of fun. But then I found Lucio, and what I found really loved about playing Lucio was that he's support, but it's a passive support. So what you just have to be in the thick of the fight and just basically you just got to dance with him. You know, you just got to make you do the wall riding, you do all this stuff, and I don't know, I really took to the way that you kind of had to play him, because it was more about, and it was also one of the other characters I like to play was Tracer, where Lucio he's like support / harassment, which in so for people not really familiar with kind of the terms, like harassment means you're just kind of, you're a character that is just kind of on the fringes of the flanks. You're coming in from behind. You're keeping the enemy occupied. You're not necessarily killing them all the time, but they have to take you into consideration when you're fighting them. So what I found with Lucio is I can kind of fill that role as do a little bit of a harassment thing where, okay, I'm healing my guys, I'm dancing around, and then I can also kind of move around to the sides and hit them from the flanks. I can flank a Reinhardt and hit him from behind if I want to, because he's too slow for Lucio. And even though I do absolutely no damage, he still kind of has to pay attention to the fact that he's getting hit.
You can distract you, and that's the thing. You're really good at that. I'm awful at the fast characters. I lose control. I get distracted. I lose focus. I'm no good at it. But the slow and steady characters, I can totally rock at.
Yeah,
and it's like, so you find your entry point, and you're golden.
Right.
And you can go from there and go, okay, I played as Roadhog for like an hour, occasionally swapping out a little bit. And then I was like, all right, I've played as Imp a little while. I've seen how other people are playing these other characters. I want to try one of those other characters. I get the general idea because I faced off against those people, and now I can try it myself.
Right.
And and maybe it's just me and my experience, but it feels like a friendlier game than a lot of other multiplayer things.
I mean, you run into a few people who are just sore and sour, individuals, but for the most part, I don't know. It's just it's a really fun community. The game itself is fun. It's polished. It's engaging. The characters are unique. Each character is unique and interesting. They all have their own abilities, and they all have different ways that you can go about kind of claiming victory. Within each class, there are different types. So, like, each attack character, I mean, sure, they're good for attack, but they're good for different types of attack.
Right.
You know, you don't necessarily even use them in the same way. It's like they each have their own subclass. I mean, Reinhardt, for example, which is when I play tank as Reinhardt, but Reinhardt is completely different from Roadhog. I mean, you don't play them the same way. They both tank, they both absorb damage, but Reinhardt is a true, like, he's very much a true defensive tank, whereas Roadhog is more of an offensive tank.
Right.
So, it's that's the thing that makes it really interesting, is all the different nuance and uniqueness across the characters.
And one of the rumored characters that's supposed to be coming out next is a support sniper.
Yes, Sombra.
Yeah, and I was like looking, and I remember reading that at first. And I went, "What the fuck is a support sniper?" And then me and a couple of my coworkers got to talking about it, and we were like, "Oh, what if it's like the Needler gun in Fallout 4, where like she can either shoot the bad guys with like a poisonous dart, or shoot you with a healing dart, or something like that." And holy shit!
You know what I also thought about today was Sombra means shadow in Spanish, or shade. What if her support ability, because remember, Symmetra doesn't heal, she provides shields, right? It's more of an abstract support ability. What if Sombra's ability was something like cloaking?
Oh yeah, like almost like she could give you a similar thing that Reaper has, or something like that.
Right. She can make you like temporarily or partially invisible for a period of time, or make the team like, maybe it would be cool if like her ultimate. Her ult was like makes the team invisible for a short period of time.
Oh, that'd be sick.
That would be so cool. But I don't know. I mean, we'll see what Blizzard has up their sleeve.
And I got really lucky. We were talking about the idea of doing unboxing videos. Have you done any yet?
No, not yet. I mean, I couldn't help myself and unbox some of the things that I already had without recording.
I totally get that. Yeah.
But it was fine because I really didn't get too much interesting. I only got Diva's tangerine skin and Hanzo's I forgot it's like a greenish cloak skin.
Oh, right on.
But nothing special. I
got really lucky and recorded 3 boxes that I opened last night, which are going to go up tomorrow. That's the 22nd. And I got some pretty badass shit, and I'm not going to give it away because I want people to watch. And I didn't appreciate how cool it is because of being so new to the game. I didn't appreciate how cool the shit that I unboxed 3 in a row was until I went into work today and I told the same co-worker who told me I was a bad person. And he probably felt like I was an even worse person after I told him that. But he was like, "Are you fucking shitting me? You got all those in a row?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, he was like, "I'm fucking jealous of you." But I could see in his eyes that he truly hated me now. And I gotta tell you, Kevin.
For a second, I thought you were gonna say, I could see in his eyes he truly respected me. He was like, no, it was actual hate.
No, and I gotta tell you, that full and unbridled level of hatred, it's intoxicating.
It gives you energy.
And I want more of it now. I'm an anger vampire as of now. But I'm not gonna become a troll because I'm not a monster.
So like the trolls are the anger vampires who are like those vampires who are like they're just rogues and out there and just doing the nasty shit. And then there's the anger vampires who are more like Dracula, who have some restraint and want to do it with class and dignity.
Right. Trolls are the Sabbat for any of you Vampire the Masquerade fans out there, and people like me who want to go about our evil in a more genteel, civilized way. We want to soak up your anger in a way that's calm and almost friendly to the outside world. We're more like the Camarilla. Either way, we're your enemy. What else? Have you been playing anything else other than Overwatch, or has it been like basically exclusively Overwatch?
It's been much to the chagrin of my channel. It's been all Overwatch.
you went from a Doom addiction to Overwatch.
Yeah, it's like I just was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm definitely doing this.
Yeah. I played 2 rounds. My first match, I went because you had been playing for a little while at this point.
Yeah, I mean, before you started, I think I had like 5 days on you or something like that.
And you were in the second open beta, I want to say too.
I was invited. I was invited to it, but I didn't get a chance to actually use the key.
Well, yeah, you had been playing for a little longer than me, and I played the first match, and I was like, okay, that was fun. I enjoyed that. Some nice people. This is cool. And then I had an amazing second match and got play of the game. And I don't. This is not me bragging because I know the algorithm's all fucked up. But it was enough that I was just like, okay, and now I'm doing this forever. And I had a really good match where I felt any other multiplayer games I've played in the past, I felt like I was tagging along.
Right.
And this is the first time I've played a competitive multiplayer game where I actually felt like I was helping.
Right.
Like, right off the bat, I felt like I was helping, like I was doing a good
helpful.
job. Yeah. Like I'm not just some schmuck who's like, one guy, God bless him, in the team is pointing and going, go over there and shoot that guy. And I go, thank you. I'll be happy to do that. No, I actually could intuit what was needed and pick it up. And it's I think it's because it is a simpler game, it's a simpler concept. I can't wait to see it. I've fallen for their trap. Because all I can think of is, ooh, I wonder what other skins they're going to come out with. I wonder if they'll ever allow us to unlock new announcer voices. I wonder what other new maps, or if they're ever going to come out with a single player thing, or what if they do this and what if they do. I've fallen for their trap.
The last thing I thought of last night as I'm going to bed was I started replaying the last match that I had in my head and figuring out what I could have done differently. And then I texted you.
Yeah.
And I said, shit, I should have switched from Tracer to Pharah.
Right. I remember that. Yeah. Yeah. And like suddenly you're laying in bed and you're about to fall asleep and your eyes snap open and you're like, oh, I fucked that up. Like you're just
like nobody else on the team was making any switches. So I should have been the one to say, okay, all right, I'm going to Pharah because they're all huddled on one point, and Pharah does splash damage with her rockets. So I can hit multiple guys at once.
Yeah.
I don't have to be totally accurate. And they have a Widowmaker, and I can kind of fly around and do... Damn it, I should have been Pharah.
Yeah, it's so funny. You start... it just changes your mindset on that stuff. And
but yeah, no, that's the thing though.
Fascinating.
Is Blizzard. I mean, Blizzard is working on. They're working on new characters. They're working on new maps. Those are the two big parts of the game are the maps and the characters, and they're working on more. And they're probably going to hit a limit to the number of characters they add. They don't want it to be a absurd.
I don't know,
characters.
man. Have you ever played Smite?
No, I have not.
They're basically doing Smite's plan. Smite, for example. Now the difference is that Smite you can buy characters individually when you start. It's a free to play game, and I think you have like 5 characters, and occasionally they rotate out different characters you can try out for free for a week or something. But you can purchase the characters individually, or you can give them $30. And you get every character they have and every character they ever will have for that $30. And I won one of those. Humble brag. Well, not humble at all. I won a PC Gamer contest where I just got bored at work one day and they were asking people to tweet them your favorite riffs on because you play gods in the games,
right?
And funny version of the god names. And I'd never played Smite before, but I knew gods, so I pulled up the list of all the gods in the game at that point, and I went down the list and tweeted at PC Gamer a funny version of every single one of the gods. And so they went, okay, yeah, you get one. And as part of my winning was I got one of the $30 packs, giving me all the gods for free forever.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I got a bunch of like currency to spend in game. And that's how they make their money, because they have all these skins. And I'm on their newsletter list now, and every week you get a new newsletter with a new bunch of skins or a new special. They're constant, and I guarantee you that's basically what Blizzard's going to be doing. Like you've got, and frankly, at this point, how many characters are in Smite? It's got to be at least 50.
Wow.
Let me see. How many characters in Smite? List of gods. I'm looking at it, and it's going on for a very long time.
Yes.
It's at least 50. I've got to say. Well, maybe not 50. Almost 50. It's got to be up there. It's a long list. And they're just making currently 77 playable characters.
Jeez.
So you say that they got a limit. I don't know that they do.
That's true.
And on top of that, and even if they don't charge us, because it's such an important part, switching out characters and that sort of thing. So the idea of buying characters individually is kind of shitty for a game that's so important.
Right.
So even if they never charge us again for that, I hesitate to even call it a prediction, because it just seems like common sense. They will be coming out with tons of skins and tons of voice packs and poses, and we ain't seen.
Yeah, there's just going to be more and more and more.
It's just going to be a license to print money for them. So I'm and like I said before, I have fallen for their trap because I'm invested. It's over for me. Save yourselves, people.
Just do not buy Overwatch.
Yeah, leave it to us so we can get better.
Hey, speaking of that, buy. We should leave.
Buy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah. I mean, Overwatch is waiting.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, speaking of which, bye.